I often see many people in different fields like sales, services, consulting, even in day to day, they do something wrong which hampers their growth. And for that reason, I have brought in a guest who understands human behavior very well, who is an accomplished sales guy and who reads 4 books per month. Please help me welcome Jeevan Fernandez on a talk with Tabriz. Jeevan, India is a country of 1.4 billion people, and what bothers and hurts me is some people, instead of making their careers, they making their life smooth, start fighting on internet to defend their favorite politician, favorite movie star, favorite cricketer. What do you have to say about them?
Well, 1.5 billion is a lot of people. That is to begin with. And the internet is a place that gives a lot of comfort and safety to our citizens and any internet user in general. I'm not a fan. This particular breed is what you call keyboard warriors or armchair critics. If you really mean something, if you really want to say something, it is okay to say online so long, as you can say it to the Braz's face or the politician's face or whoever's face. So you shouldn't be two-faced about it, right? So my belief is, if you're saying something online, stay consistent and say it to the face as well. If you don't have the courage, then maybe just don't say it behind the confines of the internet either, right? So that's my belief. Don't be an armchair critic. Grow a pair, if you will. Grow some courage and be a critic in general.
And also, they spend a lot of time. That time can be used to make their careers better. What do you feel about that?
Couldn't agree more. Opportunity cost, right? But the people that are doing this are part of what I like to call the doom scroll workforce or the doom scroll force, where you're just addicted to the internet, and it's also this dopamine hit that it gives you, right? Chances are you'll never meet this person, but there is this aspirational value that, hey, I contributed,
yes,
hey, I said something, hey, my voice matters. So yes, your time is much better off repurposed doing something for you, but you're none the wiser. So you're more power to them, not judging them. My only submission will be, if you can say something behind the screen, say that in front of the screen as well.
Yeah. What do you think about a finance guy asking you to invest 30% of your income in SIP without knowing your background, without knowing your lifestyle, without knowing what your goals are?
I think that finance guy is a scammer. If someone tells me to siphon off 30% without knowing what my aspirations are, what my goals are, what my lifestyle is. In fact, I'll give you my personal example. I have a wealth manager, and the foundation of wealth management, and he's educated me about this, the phrase is to understand what every individual's goals are, aspirations are, dreams are, and based on that, you backward engineer. For example, Tabriz wants to buy a house by 2050. Tabriz wants to buy a BMW by 2030. What's the cost of a BMW? How much will you need to save? You backward engineer, you make a plan, right? So you can't go in for a cookie cutter approach where, hey, this is what I gave Tabriz, I'll give it to Jeevan as well. No. You need to empathize with someone, understand where they want to go in life, and give them a plan accordingly. Right? It's not a one size fits all. So I wouldn't entertain such a finance consultant. I would rather go in with my wealth manager who understands what your long-term goals are, long, medium, short, break them down, and backward engineer a plan for you. Right? That's the best way to go about it.
Frankly, I do not like the content which is being created on LinkedIn I feel LinkedIn content is extremely copy paste, unnecessarily long, and full of bragging. Whereas X, which is also known as Twitter, it is very creative, extremely deep, and it is very crisp like masala papad. What are your views? Where is LinkedIn getting it wrong?
God. So let me tell you first, I feel offended because I put my content on LinkedIn only. But I agree with you in part because the world we live in today, Tabriz, is an attention-starved world, right? Where our attention spans, say, a decade ago were an hour. Today, they are a minute, if not lesser. X enjoys the ability, or rather, enjoys constraints. It will be 1 out of 2, 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
That's how
It
we
creates thread.
Correct, threads. That's how ignorant I am. But it creates threads. And that's the kind of world we live in today where people don't necessarily enjoy the patience for long form or longer form. Twitter gives it to you in bite-sized fashion, like you said, masala papad. LinkedIn, on the other hand, is more appreciative of long form. I'm not saying 1 hour, but I'm saying a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. There are long-ish articles on LinkedIn as well. So I feel that the audiences both on LinkedIn and X are unique audiences. LinkedIn is predominantly a corporate /workforce / people working. The audience versus X is more non-workforce. I mean, everyone on X is working and chances are they're on LinkedIn, but their X persona is unique, right? So when you're on X, it's like, since you watch cricket and you're in a country that worships cricket, X is like 2020. Right? You're waiting for that 6, for that 4, for that soundbite by Elon Musk. LinkedIn is more, I wouldn't say text, LinkedIn is more 50-50 or 1 day, where there is room for nuance. You can put that 2-minute, 3-minute video, you can put that 4-5 minute long article, right? I'll say that it has its pros and cons, but given that I'm on LinkedIn and I should ideally be an advocate for LinkedIn, given that I post all my content there, X / Twitter lacks nuance, lacks context. So you need to be context rich before participating, which is not the case in LinkedIn because you set the context and then build. But again, to each their own.
There are 2 follow-up questions to this. One is, don't you see a lot of copy-paste content on LinkedIn? Yes or no?
I do, yeah.
And do you get disappointed that you create original content? Whatever your thoughts are, it is your own observation and you put in the work, and you reach a certain limit. But there is something which is catering to the gallery,
Yeah.
and which is copy paste from someone else,
Yeah.
but getting lot of impressions. And don't you feel little dejected with this?
I feel more than dejected, I feel distraught, but such is life. We were just speaking before this how life is unfair. My sole agenda, the place of my content is I don't do it for the likes. Granted, there is a part of me, my ego, that hurts when I don't get enough impressions, but I do it for my audience, I do it for myself, and I do it because I want to do it and I need to do it. The only way to distinguish yourself is to be as unique as you can and really carry on, because at some point the copy pasters will stop, right? And if you are a good content creator, if you are consistent, you won't stop, right? So that's the way I look at it. Disappointing, yes, but if you can run longer, faster than them, then yeah, you'll win in the long run. If you're coming up with content that's copied or plagiarized, Tabriz, your credibility is in question, right? Someone somewhere will know that, oh, I see this exact same format somewhere else, right? So you will be called out. We have a lot of copy paste, we have a lot of fakes today, and we just spoke about armchair critics. Those armchair critics will emerge, man. Right? So better be original. You, the armchair critics, will stay an arm's length from you.
Yeah, valid point. Now moving on to a day-to-day instance wherein there is a situation. He may be your friend, he may be a relative. He would say, "Can you give me some money? I'll definitely return it on the X date. I need it now, but I'll definitely return it on the X date. Say 10,000 rupees. You have that money, you give it to that person. Now, on the X date, there is no return of money. On the X plus 30 days, you start hearing excuses. And on X plus 60 days, there is complete silence. What do you think? Should we start protecting our money more? Being everybody is a middle class and everybody have bills to pay every month.
I have found myself in this exact situation. Maybe the timelines were where because I follow up a little more consistently my money and being in sales and all, but found myself in such situations many a times. How do you not find yourself in such situations? Do not lend money. Not because you don't want to, but because you're not a bank, right? See, the ways money is a complex subject. Dare I say it's as complex as religion in our country. No one talks about it, but the moment you lend money or the moment you borrow money, we're looked at differently. Lender, borrower, doesn't matter.
The session ends.
Yeah, I mean the fact that I've borrowed, forget you giving me the money. The fact that I've asked has painted me a certain way in your head.
Yes.
Okay, so it's you have an impression of me now, which isn't necessarily positive. Second, about the relationship. The relationship ends there because things start getting awkward whether you lend him or her the money or not. Right? I personally prefer staying away, not because I don't want to, but like you said, it complicates relationships. So the good part is, if you refrain, it doesn't complicate the relationship. It may breed friction early on, but it settles. However, if you do lend, and let's play the scenario that you beautifully articulated, 30 days excuses, 60 days ghosting, that just relationships over. And it's not just that person may be a bridge to several other people, right?
Yeah.
It's that whole bridge, that whole world that you're now divorced from. So money is sensitive. So keep it, even, I would say stick to the family, like blood. Even there it gets complicated sadly, but if you have to, when it comes to money, don't get into the whole lending, borrowing, go Dutch.
Now moving on to something mainstream, I see many people have skill set. They have everything in them to achieve certain thing. They are backed by their family and acquaintances who are supporters of them. Still, they do not push themselves for the higher goals, probably because the risk is involved. What do you think? What should people do to become more risk takers even when courage is absent?
Privilege, sadly, is a disadvantage because when you're privileged, you're not necessarily hungry, right? Poverty makes you always hungry. The only antidote I see Tabrez, when you come from privilege, is when your parents simulate an environment for you where they put you purposely in situations that force you to to become hungry. As parents, we get soft nowadays. चलो यार, मेरा बच्चा है, सीख जाएगा, नहीं सीखेगा. Right? Unless life teaches you, you don't learn. So you need to throw your kid into the deep end of the pool. If you don't like it, that's why privilege stinks. Right? Privilege has a limit. Poverty has no limits. So, as much as we all say privilege is an advantage, it's actually, it's like, you must have heard of the story, Tabrez, where there's an elephant, a baby elephant that is tied. Yeah, so that's what privilege is, right? You always think, because you have this safety net, you don't jump outside or you don't explore outside. But on the other end, there is no safety net. Right? So, yeah.
But as much as you say privilege doesn't make you hungry, what I've seen the other side. Although there is certain level of hunger on the other side, but there are some bad habits attached to them. Apart from the hunger to do right things, there is also a hidden bad habit which category of people don't want to come out. Say match fixing example, where in Pakistani cricketers who are extremely talented from extremely humble background, but as soon as they see the money, they fall prey to it.
Got it.
If they have got a better education, they have got a understanding of what is right, what is wrong, what is allowed, what is not allowed, they probably would have a better career. So that's where I'm coming from. Poverty may bring you hunger, but it also has its own challenges.
I agree with you, and that's a great point. However, where I beg to differ, Tabrez, is integrity are two independent subjects. Someone who's highly educated isn't necessarily high on integrity, and vice versa. The best example I'll give you is our domestic help. I've had several domestic helps over the years, my wife and I, and we've observed that these are not non-educated, non-privileged, of course, right? They grassroots, they've come up and they're working really hard for their families, not earning the kind of money that we earn, doing pretty laborious jobs to earn not so much money. Even in that class of people, I was surprised, Tabrez, non-educated, non-privileged. There are those that are higher integrity, there are those that are lower integrity. So my learning is, you don't need an education or you don't need privilege to know what integrity looks and feels like. Integrity is integrity, right? If someone's intent is malicious to begin with, whether she's a Harvard graduate or is doing cooking at your home, they will scam you. It's intent, integrity is internal.
To sum up this particular question, just one other aspect, apart from money, there is other types of greeds are also involved. Like if you are in the position of power, you may approach opposite sex in a different way.
Yeah.
So it's not just money, but kind of biasness, or you can use it to your advantage, and you can do something unethical.
That's what power does to you, right? Power, they say, if you want to know, Abraham Lincoln says this, if you want to know the true character of someone, give him more power. And more often than not, this power is abused.
Yes.
80
to 90% of times I've seen.
And that's the case, Tabrez, because there's no single individual or institution that is holding this person accountable, be it CEO, be it a politician, be it anyone, right? be it the man of the house, the woman of the house, no one's holding them accountable.
It's their way or the highway.
Correct. So the moment you rise above the law, so to speak, you do what you want. However, if there was someone that held you accountable for your acts, for your actions, for your activities, you would be far more grounded. I also feel after a point you lose empathy. Right? When your feet aren't at the furnace, you're flying, you're at the peak of Everest. You don't know what the other person's feeling. You don't know his or her circumstance.
Yeah.
You're just in your own world. But yeah, that's life.
Yeah. Got it. Point out. Now we move on to some light-hearted questions we had.
Wow, these are light-hearted.
So now I present you scenarios, and whether that scenario can be improved, you just have to do it.
Sure.
An air hostess reading out life-saving instructions in a very robotic way.
I have my sympathies for air hostesses. They do a great job. And the way, if I was an air hostess or cabin crew, because that's what I'd be, the way I'd do it better is I'd be a little more personal about it. Where, let's say, Tabriz is in front of me, and instead of addressing a bunch of people, I'd probably address the people right in front of me. I would make eye contact with the people looking at me, right, to make it more engaging, meaningful, and fun for me.
Yeah.
Right, because life is robotic. Tabriz. Chris Martin from Coldplay is doing the same thing in Ahmedabad, in Vienna, in Tokyo, in same thing. He's doing the same thing. He's just getting paid a lot of money. He's doing the same thing. That air hostess is doing the same thing. If Chris Martin can find fun ways to keep himself motivated, to make it non-robotic, I think all of us can. Right? Is his perspective.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant point. Now, one more scenario. A guy cold calling random people and asking, do you require a loan? आपको लोन की जरूरत है क्या? How can you improve this situation?
I've been a cold caller for a long time, and even now my profession requires me to cold call. I'm in sales. In sales, you've got to understand that there is no need, there is no pain, there is no point of the call.
Yeah.
So, you need to reframe. First of all, never lead with a question, right? Always introduce yourself, build credibility.
Yeah.
The moment you get a cold call in India today, hi sir,
लोन की जरूरत है क्या?
loan is, you disconnect, right? So, build credibility. You may say no to that someone, but you'll at least give him or her the grace, right? So, introduce yourself, build credibility, and if someone isn't interested, maybe ask them, hey, do you know someone else that is? If yes, I'd be grateful. And if, sir, I can help you in another way. Our banks have several products, our insurance company does all of this, let me know. But see, again, don't lead with what you want to sell them. Lead with what they want. Maybe ask them, are you looking for anything specific that I can help you with? If not, maybe put me through to someone else. And just because one guy or 100 people reject your call, you need to make that 100 1,000. Because when you do 1,000 calls, maybe 100 people will say yes. So just expand that base.
Great, again, valid point. And I would try to teach people who do cold calling that this is how you need to approach. Is there a room for MRs to improve their pitch?
Absolutely. Both MRs improving their pitch and doctors improving their handwriting. There's always room. The good thing is they understand each other's vocabulary, which is most important. It's okay if we don't understand it. We are not the stakeholder in their ecosystem. My sense is in the medical community, time is of the essence, right? So they don't have the luxury of writing in beautiful calligraphy or speaking like us Toastmasters do. No, they are in a rush. They are in haste. Time is of the essence. So it's working out for them, more part of them. I'll say in the odd cases that it doesn't work out, it is a good idea to do how we have a dual verification. So while we speak, we also write it down such that we are on the same page around what I've said and written. Because sometimes, as great as our rapport is, we may indicate something that you may misinterpret.
Yeah.
Right? So I think a double or a dual verification helps there where, yeah, do your sign language, but also write it down. That way, both, and when both align, we move forward.
Yeah, right point. What I also feel is they get scared looking at the doctor, whether he will give you more time.
Yeah.
As you said, time is currency.
Yeah.
They start mumbling and probably they should own that time.
Correct. In fact, that's a great point you brought up, Tabriz. I'll add another layer of perspective here. There was a study done, and in professions like pilots, doctors, where the pilot or the doctor reigns supreme, the people under them, hierarchically, be it in the pilot cockpit, the first commander, right, the air hostess, they don't speak up, right, or they speak very softly, and that becomes hazardous because there may be an escalation. Similarly, doctor context where a nurse isn't really comfortable speaking up to the doctor because doctor, Bhagwan, all of that, and who am I, nurse, nobody. But such cases have led to deaths, both in the air and on the ground. So there is a system today, fortunately, that encourages nurses, air hostesses, first chairs in the cockpit to speak up.
Yeah.
Right? And that's important. You need to build a system where even the folks that aren't necessarily at the wheel, so to speak, or at the needle, whatever instrument the doctors use, get to have a voice. So yeah, that's important.
At the end is we had a very good discussion about various scenarios. You gave your wisdom to my audience, my talk show, and I want to thank you for that.
It's my pleasure, Tabriz. You're forever kind, and it was really fun. I want to take a moment and appreciate your work and, frankly, the subject. Right? It's such a unique subject. The internet today is inundated with the same old, and you're bringing in a breath of fresh air. So thank you very much. I appreciate you pursuing me and really, I'll say, quoting me for this. It was fun. I enjoyed it myself. I don't know what I've said. I think I'll have a better sense once I watch it. But it was fun, and keep doing this, man. Keep killing it.
Thank you. I want to thank you more for this.
My pleasure. I'll see you around the place.